Families are grieving in Michigan after police say a school shooter, Ethan Crumley, shot and killed 4 students. And now the suspect's parents, James and Jennifer Crumley, are also in custody on suicide watch. They are all in the same facility together. They're accused of involuntary manslaughter. They've pleaded not guilty. There were several red flags, according to authorities, including a cell phone search for gun ammunition seen by a teacher the day before that shooting in Michigan, and a note found on the suspect's desk hours before the gunfire. We wanted to put these headlines into context with Dr. Amy Klinger. She's an author and expert in school safety with the Educators School Safety Network. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We want to dive right into this and ask you first what parents can do to prepare their children for these situations, because there is a lot of coverage and they know these things are happening. They prepare in their schools with drills.
Well, I think it's really important to really talk with students and with your children about disclosures, about if something makes you uncomfortable, if you see something on social media, if there's something that just doesn't seem right, to tell an adult as quickly and efficiently as possible, someone in the school, a parent, a trusted adult, but really making sure that they say what they see something and say something.
And I know we have to be careful here, but are there some things that you have seen in some of the recent situations, particularly the situation in Michigan, some warning signs that you as an expert might consider warning signs that were missed?
Well, it's really difficult to say until you understand the whole context of what's going on. But anytime when you have someone that is writing who has writings or drawings or things that really are violent in nature, or that really express a lot of rage or a lot of hopelessness, when you have someone who seems to be showing a gun around a lot, or talking about guns or talking about violence, that person may very well need help, whether it's a prelude to a school shooting or some other form of violence or self-harm. So we always need to look at that whole spectrum of things that we should be concerned about. With the school shooting being sort of the ultimate worst case scenario, there's also a lot of things in between that we can help by providing early intervention and support.
When you say a lot of things in between, what do you mean?
Well, we really advocate for an all hazards approach. There's a variety of risks and hazards that schools face, and they have that dilemma of having to be prepared for a school shooting, which is really quite rare statistically, but they also have an obligation to be prepared for the things that happen more often: self-harm, suicide, aggressive physical assaults, those sort of things, as well as severe weather events, bus accidents, medical emergencies, that whole continuum of things that also can create tragedies in schools. So schools have to be really prepared for that continuum of events, and students need to be prepared as well for those.
So in terms of things that have changed for school safety in the last few years, can you talk more about that? Because, you know, I'm going to age myself. Back in the day, school safety was trying to get children across the crosswalk safely. It seems to have expanded greatly since then.
Well, we're 20 plus years after Columbine, but I think what has really happened since the pandemic is schools have had to focus really heavily on public health concerns, and they have sort of been taken away or taken their eye off the ball a little bit in terms of assessing threats, looking at vulnerabilities, trying to identify individuals of concern. And so we really have to be able to do both. We have to worry about public health, okay, but we also have to worry about that continuum of potential threats and incidents that could happen. The death of a student in school from a school shooting is clearly a horrific tragedy, but the death of a student in school from suicide, or getting hit by a bus, or having a medical emergency that wasn't handled appropriately, those are tragedies too. So we really need to be looking at an all hazards approach to school safety.
All right, Dr. Klinger, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We do appreciate it. We've certainly posted some resources because conversation like this is so important. There's an online tool for parents and educators at 10tv.com/featured links.